Hi, I am Samyogi. Today is September 23rd, 2025. Welcome back to the Krishnamurti podcast. This is episode 59. In this episode, we shall continue discussing and listening to the fifth talk by Krishnamurti at Ommen, the Netherlands. So Krishnamurti says, if you have something in your basket, if you have your hands full, your mind and heart free, then you are concerned with sowing, not with the result which you may reap. When most people want to help, that is exactly what they are seeking. They want a result. Thereby you are concerned not with the chief thing, which is the sowing, but what you shall reap. Please see this point. Because I have listened to people, their questions have shown me that you look at everything from a sectarian point of view, from a group point of view. You try to awaken other people to a certain point of view, to a certain pattern, to a certain result, which you yourself have achieved, or you consider how you shall sow that which you have. All this to me shows a very limited mind, and such a mind cannot understand the swiftness of wisdom. Now we are concerned with the result of sowing. Sowing, S-O-W-I-N-G, sowing. Because we are not sure what we are sowing, we want conviction from others to encourage us, to show that we have it. That gives us a sensation. What I want to show you, S-H-O-W, what I want to show you, or what I want to show this morning is that if you have come here to be helped, to discover a solution, or to gain something, I am afraid you will be disappointed, because what you gain, you lose. If you seek a result, it is transient. If you seek a solution, you are trying to run away from the cause of the problem. In other words, a result or a gain or the idea of achievement is but a certain comfort in which you take shelter, which becomes your security and which you call truth. Hence your action, which alone can reveal the full significance of life, is utterly denied. So let's pause here. He is saying action can reveal the full significance of life, which is impeded or hindered or convoluted or perverted by our hankering after the result of our action. For example, I record these podcasts and try to finish recording by, say, a certain time, by 48 minutes before sunrise, because we have in the Indian tradition a window of 48 minutes which ends 48 minutes before sunrise, which starts 96 minutes before sunrise, almost 100 minutes before sunrise, is when this Brahma Muhurt, or the moment of Brahman or God or truth or what you will, starts. And during that period, you can leverage the energy, the spiritual energy, if you record a podcast like this, or I record another podcast which is in Hindi on the Upanishads. For those who might be interested in that philosophy, who might find it very hard to understand Krishnamurti, and it is definitely hard. Took me a number of years to get here where I am finally in a situation where I can podcast about Krishnamurti. Now, what I can do is spend all my time in marketing the podcast, in growing the podcast, making it a worldwide thing, counting every day, 100 views, 200 streams, 1000 streams, 10,000 streams. So if I am hankering after the result and if I am focused on that, then I am missing the action, which is sowing, which is just recording, and of course marketing, in the sense publishing it on certain social media, tweeting about it, talking about it, talking about the blogs where I write the podcasts. So that is an example of action that I wanted to give, where it is sowing vis-a-vis hankering after the result. If you are always hankering after the result, you miss the beauty of life, the ecstasy of life. That's what Krishnamurti is pointing out here. Let's go back to it. A result or a gain or the idea of achievement is but a certain comfort in which you take shelter, which becomes your security and which you call truth. Hence, your action, which alone can reveal the full significance of life, is utterly denied. You only seek a result when there is an emptiness, an aching, insufficiency. And trust me, I have gone through this. When hankering after the result, it becomes an emptiness, an aching insufficiency, because no matter what you achieve, it is never enough. So this emptiness is different from what Krishnamurti says when he says, you are nothing. That is what you will talk about eventually, and we'll listen. We hope we get to hear that soon in his own words. So that you are nothing means you are no self. Your self is nothing. Why do you have such a big ego? That is what he means. You are nothing. So that nothingness is different from this aching loneliness, this aching insufficiency that he is talking about, which is a pretty depressive state. It is far removed from the ecstasy of life. Krishnamurti continues here. Why do you seek a result? Why do we seek achievement? Because we cannot meet life or experience or every incident of the day completely with a freshness. Because we have not the capacity to meet all things freshly, newly, spontaneously. Our minds are so burdened with memory, we are incapable of meeting anything fresh. We always meet events with ready-made reactions born of yesterday's memories. Okay, let's listen to it again. We cannot meet life or experience or every incident of the day completely with a freshness because we have not the capacity to meet all things freshly, newly, spontaneously. Our minds are so burdened with memory, we are incapable of meeting anything fresh. We always meet events with ready-made reactions born of yesterday's memories. So let's pause here and quickly try to understand what he means by these memories. So these memories are our conditioning, our prejudices, the tradition maybe, our sense of security or insecurity, fear, anxiety. So with these, which happened yesterday, which comes up today when we are acting today, when I am acting in the present, the past comes up and overshadows the present, making the present insufficient, incomplete. Suppose I had a beautiful vacation and my mind keeps going back to that vacation and I resent the current weather which is getting cold and colder, then I am missing the present, which is what is reality. So, is the past acting or is the past not acting? Am I fully in the present? That is the question. If I am fully in the present all the time, I am awake. Else, I may have had 10 hours of sleep, and then if I keep talking about the past, harping about the past, the good times of the past, then I am dead. That doesn't mean you do not use the knowledge of the past for a technique that you have learned, the things that the typing that I have learned, for example, typing stuff on the computer, that I do not forget. That is something which I use as a technique. That knowledge, that technique I use in the present. But when things like psychology come up from the past and say, hey, are you okay doing this? Should you do this? You shouldn't do that. Then that becomes a hindrance, a barrier. Insecurity or security creeps in. Tradition, your fear says, hey, should you post this on the internet or not? What will people say? Will they say you have become a religious nut or what have you? So these are what prevent our current action from meeting life head on. That is what makes our action incomplete. Let's go back to Krishnamurti. Our minds are so burdened with memory, we are incapable of meeting anything fresh. We always meet events with ready-made reactions born of yesterday's memories. When the mind and the heart are burdened with a memory of incompleteness, then we seek a result, a success, an achievement. Whereas when you meet all things anew with a freshness, with an eagerness, not with that ready-made reaction, that jaded memory, then that action will give you its full significance. You no longer seek a result, an achievement. You no longer run away from sensation. In action itself, there is the full significance, and that is wisdom. Again, in action itself, there is the full significance, and that is wisdom. To follow that wisdom, your heart and mind must be entirely free from the search for a result. When one recognizes that, when one becomes aware in action that one is continually seeking a result, a success, an achievement, again, when you really understand with your mind as well as with your heart, then your everyday action reveals in what manner your mind and your heart are caught up. But now you are acting without consciousness or full understanding of why you are doing it. Most of our actions are based on a motive, achievement, success, or fear. When you become conscious of that, not only mentally but emotionally as well, then that action of which you are conscious, aware, frees itself from the result which you are seeking. I will try to put it differently. Let's listen to this part one more time and continue. Most of our actions are based on a motive, achievement, success, or fear. When you become conscious of that, not only mentally but emotionally as well, then that action of which you are conscious, aware, frees itself from the result which you are seeking. I will try to put it differently. Don't say I must not seek a result. Don't say I must not have achievement or I must not seek shelter. If you say that, you are creating another set of shelters. In the must not there is a shelter, there is a security. So do not say that. Become aware if your action is the result of that search of the want to gain security. When you become aware in action, then action itself will show you its full significance. After all, wisdom is not a thing to be gained out of books. I cannot transmit wisdom to you. Wisdom is born in the fullness of action, and you can only act fully or understand action completely when your mind and heart are free from this continual desire for a result. So I am again approaching that time, which is 48 minutes before sunrise. So we'll continue where we left off here tomorrow or the next episode, which will be episode 60. Thank you. You have a wonderful day.